Welcome to our lesson entitled Moving Data Between Tables. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the purpose of lookup fields, describe the process for creating a lookup field, describe the purpose of summary fields, describe the process for creating a summary field, identify the math functions available in summary fields, and explain the restriction on matching criteria within a summary field. In our first topic, we will be reviewing the purpose of lookup and summary fields. Relationships in QuickBase allow data to be passed from one table to another through the use of lookup and summary fields. Lookup fields allow data to be passed from the parent to the child. Summary fields, on the other hand, allow data to be aggregated from the child to the parent. It is often necessary for users to see data from a related table when looking at data. For example, when we are working in project management applications, it is very helpful to know how many tasks are associated with our project. Conversely, if we are viewing a task, it's nice to be able to see the name of the project that it belongs to. With lookups and summaries, both of these needs are very easily resolved. With respect to structure and use, lookup fields are pretty straightforward. They are built from within the relationship between two tables and take information from the parent to the child table. Summary fields, however, are a little more complex. Because the nature of the summary field is to aggregate information from the child up to the parent table, QuickBase provides for the ability to count child records, as well as 5 different math functions that can be performed on fields on the child table. The functions are total, average, maximum, minimum, and standard deviation. While simply aggregating information can be helpful, summary fields provide another option that makes their functions even more useful. When building these fields, we can set requirements for matching criteria, which will allow us to count the number of tasks in a particular status, or to find the total of all expenses that have been approved. This simple addition to the functionality of the summary field opens up a world of possibilities with our data. It is important to note, however, that when building the criteria, while we can select multiple pieces of criteria, all criteria must be true in order for the function to calculate correctly. In other words, we cannot use OR in this setup. Now that we know the functions and features of the lookup and summary fields, let's walk through how these fields are created. From within QuickBase, we will select one of the tables in our application, and then select the Settings option at the top left. From the Settings page, we can select Table-to-Table Relationships to see the list of relationships for this table. Remember, since these fields are part of a relationship, we have to build them from within the relationship. Now that we've navigated into the relationship, we can see 2 buttons on this page. On the right side of the page is our Add Lookup Field button, with the Add Summary Field button on the left side. In order to build a lookup field, we will simply select the Add Lookup Field button on the right, and then we will be presented with 3 drop-downs. Each of these drop-downs will allow us to pull any field from the parent table and have that information then available on the child table. While we only have 3 drop-downs on this page, we are not limited to the number of lookup fields. If we needed more, we would simply repeat the process. To build a summary field, we would select the Add Summary Field button from the left side of our relationship. We can see from this page that we have 2 options at the top. The first option is the default and will build a summary field that will count the number of child records associated with the parent. Below this option is the selection that will allow us to summarize a specific field. Selecting this option will provide us with two drop-downs below. The first drop-down is the math function that we would like to perform on the field that we select in the second drop-down. Notice that the fields presented in the second drop-down aren't only numeric, but we can see date or date and time fields in this list as well. Since we have more than simple addition functions, QuickBase allows us to select more than just numeric fields. This is very useful if we need to determine the most recent date in a date field on the child table. Using maximum on the left and selecting the date field on the right would return the date we were seeking. Below this is the section that we discussed earlier, matching criteria. Again, the criteria in this section must all be true for the data to be aggregated to the parent. Once we've selected our options, we will select Create and be taken back to the relationship. As a developer, you will often find yourself in a position where you can leverage lookup fields and summary fields within a client's application to allow them to more easily move data between tables, ultimately setting them up for success. This concludes our lesson on moving data between tables. You should now be able to describe the purpose of lookup fields, describe the process for creating a lookup field, describe the purpose of summary fields, describe the process for creating a summary field, identify the math functions available in summary fields, and explain the restriction on matching criteria within a summary field.